Have you ever felt a pain so deep, it's like carrying an invisible wound? A betrayal that cuts to the core, leaving you raw and exposed? Today, we're diving into the hidden scars we all carry and the surprising power they hold. There are wounds that nobody sees, only you carry them quietly inside. Maybe it's that friend who betrayed your trust. The one you confided in, shared your deepest secrets with, only to have them turn around and use those vulnerabilities against you. Or perhaps it's the colleague who took credit for your work, stealing the spotlight and recognition you rightfully earned. It could even be a loved one who walked away when you needed them most, leaving you feeling abandoned and alone in your darkest hour. You go about your day with a smile plastered on your face. You laugh at jokes, engage in small talk, and appear to be the picture of normalcy. But underneath that carefully crafted exterior, there's a slow burn, a kind of ache, a storm raging in your chest. Some call it anger, a seething resentment that threatens to boil over at any moment. Others might label it heartbreak, a deep sadness that weighs heavy on your soul. Whatever name you give it, it feels like holding a hot coal in your palm, hoping someone else will get burned by its searing heat. Have you ever felt that way? I know I have. There have been times when the pain of betrayal or disappointment has been so intense, it's felt like a physical presence inside me. And sometimes it seems the world encourages us to hold on to these feelings. Don't let them get away with it, we're told. Fight back, society urges. Be strong, don't forgive, whisper the voices of pride and ego. We hear these messages everywhere, from movies and TV shows to well-meaning friends and family. But is holding on to anger really a sign of strength? Or is it something else entirely? Today, I want to explore a path that the Buddha once spoke about. He said, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. These words, spoken thousands of years ago, still ring true today. When we cling to our anger, our hurt, our desire for revenge, we're not hurting the person who wronged us. We're hurting ourselves, over and over again. Think about it. Every time you replay that betrayal in your mind, every moment you spend plotting your revenge or fantasizing about their downfall, you're reliving the pain. You're keeping that wound fresh and open, never allowing it to heal. The person who hurt you has likely moved on with their life, while you remain trapped in that moment of pain. That coal burning hotter and hotter in your hand. But is there a way to put down that coal? Is it possible to let go, without losing your power, without feeling like you're letting the other person win? I believe there is, and it's a path worth exploring together. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to release that burden. To no longer carry the weight of anger and resentment everywhere you go. To be free from the constant replay of painful memories and what-ifs that plague your thoughts. It doesn't mean forgetting what happened or excusing the behavior of those who hurt you. It means choosing your own peace and healing over the temporary satisfaction of holding on to that pain. This journey isn't easy. It requires courage, self-reflection, and often, a complete shift in perspective. But the rewards are immeasurable. By letting go of that hot coal, you free up your energy for growth, for joy, for living fully in the present moment rather than being chained to the past. As we walk this path together, we'll explore practical strategies for releasing anger and hurt. We'll look at the science behind forgiveness and its impact on our mental and physical health. And we'll hear stories from others who have faced deep betrayals and found a way to move forward, not just surviving but thriving. Remember, choosing to let go doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you're allowing others to mistreat you. On the contrary, it's one of the most powerful choices you can make. It's reclaiming your life, your happiness, and your future from those who have hurt you in the past. So, are you ready to put down that hot coal? To explore a different way of dealing with the invisible wounds we all carry? Let's embark on this journey together, towards healing, freedom, and a life no longer defined by past hurts. The path ahead may be challenging, but I promise you, it's worth every step. The Buddha said to practice loving kindness towards all, but I'm still angry at that waitress. We've all been there. In fact, right before I came here to sit down, I was getting angry at the traffic. If you think about it, anger is a very common human emotion. In some cultures, they even say anger is the next step after falling in love. But sometimes anger can become a burden, especially if it's held on to for a long time. This is a story from everyday America. Let me tell you about someone I know. Let's call him Michael. Michael grew up believing in hard work and loyalty. For years he worked at the same company. He was always ready to help his coworkers. Always went the extra mile. He trusted people. Then one year a big project came up. Michael poured his heart into it. But when it was time for promotions, somebody else got it. And that person was his friend Jason. Jason got the promotion. Michael was left behind. His effort was erased. His trust was broken. At first he tried to move on, but the anger stayed. He replayed every moment in his mind, the emails, the meetings, the jokes they used to share. 3 years passed. Michael was still at the company, but he felt tired, heavy. He avoided Jason. He stopped volunteering for new projects. Some nights he couldn't sleep. His wife noticed he was distant. His kids saw him sigh, but didn't know why. All this time, Michael was holding on to anger, hoping it would protect him, keep him from being hurt again. Well, one day Buddha was walking by a lake and some people were feeding ducks. One man in particular kept throwing food to the ducks, but the ducks wouldn't come. So he picked up a handful of dirt and started to throw it. Buddha asked him, "Why are you throwing dirt at the ducks?" He said, "They won't come when I offer them food, so I'm throwing dirt to drive them away." Then Buddha told him, "You are like that man with your anger. You think you are hurting the ducks, but you are only hurting yourself." That's a Zen story about anger. So back to our story. Michael was holding on to that anger like a hot coal. He thought it gave him strength. In truth, it only burned his own hands. Maybe you've had a Michael moment in your own life, a friend, a coworker, a parent, a lover, someone who wronged you, left you out, made you feel invisible. You might feel anger is the only thing left, the only thing that proves you were hurt, the only thing protecting your heart. But look closer. Is it really power? Or is it pain? One night after another fight with his wife, Michael sat alone at his desk. He opened his laptop, pulled up an empty document and started to write a letter. To Jason, he poured everything out, the anger, the betrayal, the years of silence. He wrote until there were tears on the keyboard. And then something changed. He wrote, "I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I don't want to be angry anymore. I want to be free." He never sent the letter. But that night, for the first time in 3 years, Michael slept through the night. Now some may say, "Oh, that's easy for you to say. You've never been betrayed like that." Well, that's not true. I too have experienced loss and pain and yes, anger. But I've also found that forgiveness and letting go have the power to transform not only our relationships, but ourselves. When we hold on to anger, we think we are punishing the other person. But in reality, we are the ones who suffer the most. Anger clouds our judgment. It makes us impulsive and reactive. It breaks down our relationships and it even affects our physical and mental health. But when we practice forgiveness, when we let go of our anger, we break the chains that bind us to our suffering. We free ourselves from the burden of bitterness and resentment. What happened to Michael? He practiced what the Buddha called compassion. He didn't excuse Jason's actions. He didn't forget the pain. But he chose to stop hurting himself. The Buddha taught that anger is not strength. True power comes from the courage to forgive, to let go, to wish well for those who have hurt us. Not because they are right, but because we choose peace. And I know this isn't easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things we can do. But if we can learn to forgive, if we can learn to let go, it will set us free. Thank you. So, what's the lesson? Anger is not power. Compassion is. You are not weak for letting go. You are not foolish for choosing peace. You are brave. You are free. Remember, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only life you have to heal is your own. Maybe you're not ready to forgive yet. That's okay. Healing takes time. But every step you take, every deep breath, every kind thought, every moment you decide not to replay that old hurt, is a step toward freedom. You are not alone. The path of healing and forgiveness isn't reserved for saints or sages. It's for anyone, anywhere, who wants to understand themselves and find peace. A small practice for you. Right now, let's do something simple together. Sit quietly for a moment. Close your eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths. With each breath, imagine letting go of just one small piece of anger or pain. If you can, think of someone you're angry with. Wish them well, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You can do this practice anytime, anywhere. 5 minutes in the morning. 3 breaths before bed. It doesn't matter if your mind wanders. What matters is your intention, to heal, to be free. Final inspiration. In a world that tells us to fight, to shout, to hold on to pain, choose differently. Choose to put down the coal. choose compassion. Because in the end, forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. It's about giving yourself the gift of peace. Thank you for walking this path with me today. If this message touched your heart, take one small step toward healing, just for you. Now, I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine a world where anger doesn't have to be our go-to response. A world where we choose compassion, understanding, and peace. This is that world. And right here in the center of it is you, surrounded by the warmth of forgiveness and the light of inner peace. It's a world that may seem distant, yet it's always within reach, waiting for you to take that first step. It's not about ignoring the hurt or pretending it didn't happen. It's about acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and most importantly, releasing it. For anger, my friends, is a heavy burden to carry. It steals our joy, clouds our judgment, and separates us from those around us. It becomes a destructive force, hurting not only others, but ourselves in the process. The world often tells us to fight fire with fire, to retaliate and strike back when we're angry. But what if there's another way? What if instead of adding more fuel to the flames, we choose to pour water on them? Imagine the strength it takes to walk away from anger, not because we're weak, but because we're strong enough to choose peace. To turn the other cheek, not out of fear, but out of love for ourselves and for the other person. This world of compassion starts with each one of us. It begins with the decision to forgive, to understand, and to move forward. It's a world worth fighting for, not with anger, but with the quiet, powerful force of forgiveness. For when we truly listen to the pain of others, when we show up for them with an open heart, when we choose to understand rather than to judge, we become the architects of our own peace. This world is not a distant dream. It's a possibility that awaits us, a future we can create today. It's a world where anger loses its power and compassion becomes our guiding light. And right here in the middle of it all, thriving and radiant, is you. Ready to join me in creating this world? Are you ready to choose compassion over anger, understanding over judgment, and peace over conflict? If you feel even the slightest pull towards this world, take a moment to show up for yourself. Show up for the people around you, show up for the world. Let's start today. Let's start right now.